All right, again, hello. This is Jeff Scott of Blackhawk Technical College. I've been going over the beginning chapters from our textbook, Android Studio Development Essentials for the 152-156 Mobile Web Development Android class for the spring 2016 semester at Blackhawk Technical College. I've done the first three chapters, which, as you can see, puts us at Chapter 4, a tour of the Visual Studio user interface. So again, I'm going to be doing more of just going over the stuff that's in the book and showing you it on the screen as opposed to going over the PDF. So, as they mention on page 31, Android Studio is a powerful and feature-rich development environment. It is an IDE. It is an integrated development environment. And since Android is basically under the guise and ownership of Google, Google has basically come down and dictated that Android Studio is the IDE of choice for Android development. So in this chapter, as it says, we're going to take the time to gain familiarity with the layout and organization of the Android Studio user interface, which will hopefully at least shorten the learning curve late in later chapters of the book. This chapter will provide an initial overview of the various areas and components that make up the Android Studio environment. But as you all know, if I come back to here and I go in here and I say Android, oops, I don't know how I got that, but Android Studio Tutorial PDF. All right, I'm going to get a lot of things. There's 12 Android tutorial. Well, I want an Android Studio tutorial, so let's see. Setting up Android Studio, learn Android Studio, all right. Beginning Android programming. I'm just trying to look for something in here that seems like it would be pretty good. This is actually from our book right there, so I'm not going to go through that. There's a Learn Android Studio book. And I don't even know, is that book even available on IT eBooks info? Let's take a quick look. So we'll come into here under it-ebooks.info. I'm going to come in there, hopefully. And I wanted to do a check to see if they had anything on Android Studio for free in here. It's not coming up very quickly, so. Android Studio Tutorial. Here's for beginners, and that's on YouTube, so I don't know how good that is. Developing with Android Studio. All right, this is a chapter from the Android Developer Essentials book. 18 pages. So let's just do a save as on that. And for now, I'll save it to the desktop. All right, the website is offline. Okie dokie. Android Studio Tutorial for Beginners. Android Tutorial for Beginners. Not Android, I want Android Studio Tutorial. Android Studio Tutorial for Beginners from the Android Authority. So I'll copy that one also, and I will looks like it could be pretty good. I will save that out to the system also. So as I find resources, I'll try to make them available to you. All right, let's go back. Okay, the welcome screen is shown in figure 4.1. Well, we already saw that earlier. All right, we already saw that welcome screen earlier. That's this, when you started to create a new project. All right, but I can close the, it says you can open projects can be closed at any time by doing the file close project, and then it'll come up and it'll show you this. Well, I don't really care, so that's fine. You've already seen it. The main window, which is what we see on our screen right now. All right, so this window that we see right here is the same thing that we see right here in our book on page 30 in our textbook. I'm sorry, page 32 in our textbook, in figure 4-2. So as we go over it, this is the menu bar up here. As they say, it contains a range of menus for performing tasks. Underneath our menu is our toolbar, all right, which you have shortcuts for frequently performed actions. Underneath that is our status bar in here, or I'm sorry, our navigation bar, which provides a convenient way to move around the files and folders that make up a project. This area that's in here, this whole area, that's our editor window. Eventually, we're going to switch back to Java, and that's where we're going to put in our Java code. Down at the bottom of the screen, kind of hard to see, but down at the bottom, that's our status bar, which provides informational messages about the project and activities. In part F, which is over here, this is our project tool window, which provides a hierarchical overview of the project file structure, allowing navigation to specific files. You've already seen that. All right. So there's our project tool window. We looked at that earlier. And as it says, it's just one of a number of tool windows that's available from within Android Studio. In addition to the project tool window, Android Studio includes a number of other windows, which, when enabled, are displayed along the bottom and sides of the main window. The tool window quick access menu can be accessed by hovering the mouse pointer over the button located in the far left-hand corner of the status bar without clicking the mouse button. All right, so I believe they're talking about down there, way down towards the bottom corner of the screen. All right, so let me close that and then bring this up. Of course, they have different stuff up there than I have, but I believe it's the same thing. Alternatively, a set of window bars can be displayed by clicking on the quick access menu icon in the status bar. And remember, our status bar is down on the bottom of the screen. Okay? So we can grab and go to different things that way as well. All right. Each of these tool windows has its own toolbar on the top edge of the screen. And I believe what the author is saying is I can go to do from right here if I want to. All right, I can go to messages. Clicking it opens it, clicking it again closes it. All right, and I can also come in and go to certain things from in here as well. All right, so there's Android. In other words, I can click along the side here, I can click along the bottom and open up different windows. Okay? All right. Android Studio offers a wide range of window tool views. The most commonly used are as follows. Let's look at the ones that are shown here. The project view offers an overview of the file structure that makes up the project, allowing for quick navigation between files. Generally, double-clicking on a file in project view will cause that file to be loaded into the editor. You've already seen that. All right? So that's project right here. There's structure, which is shown right there. All right? That tool provides a high-level view of the structure of the source file currently being displayed in the editor. There is no source file currently being displayed. If I click here and then I click on structure, then I see all the stuff that's inside of it. All right. The information that's shown includes a list of items such as classes, methods, and variables in the file. Selecting an item from that list will take you right to that area in the code. And you can see that's happening. Favorites. A variety of project items can be added to a favorites list. Right-clicking on a file in the project view, for example. So if I go to project view and I right mouse click on a file, all right, there is an add to favorites menu option right there. Anything added to a favorites list can be accessed through the favorites tool window. All right. Next, build variants. The build variants tool window provides a quick way to configure different build targets for the current application. For example, different builds for debugging and release versions, or multiple builds to target different device categories. To do. We've already seen this. This tool provides a place to review items that have not yet been completed on the project. Android Studio compiles this list by scanning the source files that make up the project to look for comments that match the to-do patterns. Messages. The Messages tool window records output from the Gradle build system. Gradle is the underlying system used by Android Studio for building the various parts of projects into runnable apps, which will be discussed later in the book, and can be useful for identifying causes of build problems when compiling applications. Android. The Android tool window provides access to the Android debugging system. Within this window, tasks such as monitoring log output, taking screenshots and videos of the app, stopping a process, and performing basic debugging tasks can be performed. Terminal. Terminal provides access to a terminal window on the system in which Android is running. On Windows systems, this is a command line prompt, whereas on Linux and Mac, it's the form of a terminal prompt. The Run tool becomes available if the application is currently running and provides the results of the run together with options for starting and stopping the process. If an application is failing to install and run on a device or emulator, the Run window will typically provide diagnostic information. Event log. Okay, I don't see either one of those, but I'm sure they're here someplace. The event log window displays messages related to events and activities performed within Android Studio. All right. There's the event log right there. I'm getting that low disk space thing. And Gradle Console is right here. It's used to display all of the output from the Gradle system as projects are built within Android Studio. Maven is kind of the old way of doing things. So basically what they recommend is that you just don't do anything with it, for lack of better words. The Gradle window provides a view onto the Gradle tasks that make up the project build configuration. And as you can see, again, there's nothing to show there. With all of these, if I click it again, it removes it. All right. And I want to come back into here and, whoops, into here. and go to projects, and this build variant I don't even need, so I'm just going to go right there. The commander tool, which I don't see right now, but I'm sure it's here someplace. All right, if I start looking through all the different things that are here, there's the run. Let's go back into here. There's a commander, a memory monitor, and a designer, and the designer we're going to look at in a little bit. Now, nice thing on the bottom of page 37, Android Studio contains an abundance of keyboard shortcuts. And it says that you can also print these from within the Android Studio window by doing a Help Default Key Map menu. So Help Default Key Map Reference. And as you can see, we get a one-page shortcut. So I'm going to go and save this. I'm going to print it right now, and I'm also going to do a file save as, and I'm going to save it for now just out to my desktop. All right. Another useful feature for navigating within Android Studio, the Android Studio main window, involves the use of the switcher. The switcher is accessed via the Control tab keyboard shortcut. It appears as a panel listing both the tool windows and the currently open files, as shown in Figure 4.7. Well, I did a Control tab. Once displayed, the switcher will remain visible for as long as the Control key remains depressed. I was doing an Alt tab. So now I tried doing a Control tab. All right, now I'm holding down right now on the Control key. Now I let go. Okay. In addition, navigation to recently opened files is provided by the Recent Files panel. This can be accessed with the Control E shortcut. There it is. Once displayed, either the mouse pointer can be used to select an option, or the keyboard arrow keys can be used to go and look through them. All right. Hit escape and it's gone. The overall theme of the Android Studio environment can be changed either from the welcome screen using the configure selections or via the file settings option. Once the settings dialog is displayed, you can select the appearance option, which is displayed right now in the left-hand panel, and then change the setting of the theme menu before clicking the apply button. Notice the theme right now is IntelliJ, and in the book they changed it to Darkula, and they click OK, I guess. And you can see how much darker everything got. I do not like that, so I'm going to go back to File again, to Settings, and I'm going to change it back to IntelliJ. And click OK, and it's back to the way it was. Now, that was quick. Okay, the primary elements of the Android Studio environment consist of the welcome screen and the main window. Each open project is assigned its own main window, which in turn consists of a menu bar, toolbar, etc. Tool windows appearing on the sides and bottoms can be accessed either by using the quick access menu in the status bar or the optional tool window bars. There are very few actions within Android Studio which cannot be triggered via a keyboard shortcut, and we just looked at those. All right, that pretty much is it for chapter 4 of our text. So we've gone through the first 40 pages, so I'm going to come back in just a couple minutes with more in chapter 5. And as you can see, chapter 5 is on creating an Android virtual device, or an AVD.